for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank it with the action. With the Baton speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
I look my mama in the eye, told her to take a game. She like, Boosie, leave it alone. Look at Craig gang.
Defense for Pete Richardson. And if you're a defensive back, what do you want in front of you? You want a defense that gets after the quarterback, so your job is that much easier. Channing Warner, their great middle linebacker, really starts things up front, and it becomes a race to the quarterback. And Channing Warner said, you know, I'm trying to get there, and the other guys are sacking the quarterback before I can get there. But that's really what they want out of this front. They want to put pressure on the quarterback and get after him and harass him all day long.
To open today's game, Pete Richardson, the coach of the Southern Jaguars in his 7th season in Baton Rouge. And here's the kick. Taken by Kerry Boyd.
In the world of hustlers that came out of Baton Rouge, no name carries more weight than Craig Gaines. Millions of dollars, countless kilos of cocaine flowed through the city under his reign. But what set him apart wasn't just the volume, it was how he moved. Some say the most unlikely things became a part of his empire, like that one trip, a Southern University bus full of fans headed to a football game in Houston, unknowingly carrying more than just school pride. It would be moves like that that would make Craig Gaines a legend, the kingpin that ran Baton Rouge like no other.
How did we get here? Baton Rouge has made headlines topping national crime per capita lists for decades.
Baton Rouge police are investigating a shooting.
Another shooting happened on a Roulette Avenue.
And another shooting.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. First on News 2 at 6 o'clock, a dubious record shattered in Baton Rouge.
The city has seen 34 homicides in just the first 3 months of this year, shattering the record of 27 homicides in the first quarter of 2021.
It was a violent weekend across East Baton Rouge Parish. 4 people killed in 3 separate incidents, and with a left to go in January, Baton Rouge police say this will be the deadliest month on record.
Baton Rouge has long been plagued by a reputation for gun violence. And about 5 years ago, on May 8th, 2018, after the murder of one of his nephews, one of the city's most prolific drug traffickers, from one of the city's most notable families, would take to Facebook to express his grief and sorrow. My city is a war zone, and all sides are against each other. The good, the bad, and the ones in between. This here gotta stop, but what can be done? We must learn to love and how to love one another. Every day somebody's dying for nothing. It really don't make sense at the end of the day, because what you doing it for? For somebody to say you real? No, my people, that ain't what it's about. Let me say this to get the record clear. I've been there, done it all, and more. You don't need no validation from nobody but yourself. Killing somebody or being killed, there's just no ending to that mad cycle. For some advice to my older brothers and sisters, we speak on this generation of youth like they're all misfits and doing this and that. But that ain't doing nothing but pushing them away. You must learn how to be patient, embrace them, and understand where they're coming from. We all know it's hard out here, but we can make it easier by doing what's right and taking care of what's ours. Focus on what's going to make you and yours better and get away from the craziness. Reach out to the youth and tell them that taking a life doesn't make you real, nor does it make everything all right. Only 2 places you can be behind that action, Angola or the grave. Just think about it. I lost 2 children of my own, so many family and friends. I lost count by now. It's so saddening being in here, not able to comfort the ones I love or even see those I lost smile or talk again. Man, just think about the families that you're hurting when you take the life of a loved one from them. The same way you would feel if the one closest to you left and went away. I pray for my city, and the families that have been affected by gun violence.
He told me that, man, he said, look, man, I'm gonna send you some money and I'm gonna send you some pictures, but it's a guy up there named Greg Gaines, the one that Bootsy be rapping about. And I said, yeah, man, I actually be talking to him every day. And he was like, yeah, man, that's a good dude. He raised dogs. They found $4 million in his wall, and he would be a good guy for you to get to be familiar with, because he don't have a life sentence, and you'd be able to know him. So we all took pictures. I took a picture with Greg Gaines, which is a real peculiar guy, because I always watched him. He was a smooth guy.
I look my mama in the eyes, told her respect the game. I look my mama in the eyes, told her respect the game. She like, Boosie, leave it alone. Look at Craig Gaines.
Kreglan Gaines Sr., allegedly born in the late 1960s, will rise to become one of Baton Rouge's most prolific drug traffickers. And according to authorities, at his peak, Gaines would control up to 70% of the cocaine supply that was coming into Baton Rouge. His alleged drug empire, which involved moving large shipments of cocaine between Houston and Baton Rouge, would be exposed through extensive federal investigations. However, it wasn't the drugs that initially put him on law enforcement's radar. In 2001, Craig Gaines would be arrested on charges of animal cruelty after authorities would discover 46 pit bulls on a property linked to him in Gibson, Louisiana. The dogs were allegedly found in poor condition, malnourished, scarred, and lacking basic necessities like food and water. Investigators suspected that the dogs had been used in illegal dogfighting rinks. While being questioned by investigators, Gaines would deny the allegations, claiming that he bred the dogs for resale, but the evidence would suggest otherwise. And this arrest, while unrelated to his drug dealings, could have possibly prompted further scrutiny from federal authorities. So, one of the central elements of Craig Gaines's alleged drug trafficking network involved frequent trips to Houston, where large amounts of cash would be exchanged for cocaine. Now, according to testimony from a guy by the name of Carlos Rondell Cato, a bail bondsman and one of Gaines's former close associates, Gaines would regularly organize drug buying trips to Houston to secure large shipments of cocaine. In one specific instance, detailed in Cato's testimony, the pair transported nearly $1 million in cash hidden in duffel bags and shopping sacks from Baton Rouge to Houston. The money was handed over to suppliers, who then loaded Cato's truck with 220 pounds of cocaine. This particular trip occurred in July of 2000 and was part of a larger operation that saw Gaines moving vast quantities of drugs between Houston and Baton Rouge with alarming efficiency. Now, like I highlighted earlier, Gaines was known for employing creative methods to avoid detection. In other instances described in court, Gaines would use charter buses packed with Southern University football fans to smuggle $200,000 in cash to Houston. On the return trip, he allegedly brought back 33 pounds of cocaine, using the unsuspecting university's fans as cover. His moves would demonstrate a level of audacity that would help keep his operations under the radar. But according to federal authorities, he wasn't opposed to violence as necessary, as it seemed to be an integral part of his operation, ensuring that his drugs were protected and any threats would be neutralized, with this being evident in an alleged incident involving a drug dealer by the name of TT in Texas. According to Charles Butler, another one of Gaines's alleged associates who provided key testimony, TT would attempt to rob Gaines by using fake police officers to steal $280,000 during a drug deal. Butler would go on to testify that during the attempted robbery, he was tasked with protecting the money. And as the officers/fake robbers tried to execute their plans, Butler would quickly react, firing his gun from inside the truck and shattering the window. And the shootout that followed would paint the picture of a violent and dangerous confrontation, and would also show the length that Craig Gaines and his crew would go in order to protect their drug transactions. More crazy is that even afterwards, Butler would testify that him and his crew would concoct a story to tell Louisiana state troopers when they were stopped near Lake Charles, explaining the shattered window as a result of being shot at by a girl's jealous boyfriend while they were leaving the strip club. Now, in addition to the high-risk drug transactions and the violent enforcement, Gaines' operation was also involved in efforts to conceal the profits from his drug empire. Witnesses would reveal that Gaines laundered his drug money through legitimate businesses, including real estate, luxury cars, and a bar known as the Plantation Bar. These laundering methods were designed to hide the true source of his wealth and to keep federal authorities from tracking his earnings. But despite all of those attempts, federal investigators were still able to link Gaines' assets back to his drug operations, which would lead directly to his eventual indictment. In 2003, 2 years after the dogfighting arrest, federal authorities would gather enough information to indict Craig Gaines along with 9 others on charges related to drug trafficking and money laundering. Witnesses would testify to the sophisticated nature of Gaines' operation, detailing how he laundered drug money with legitimate businesses, describing his drug empire as vast and well protected, with violent enforcers ensuring his control over the Baton Rouge drug trade remained unchallenged. And following his arrest, 2 people only described as Gaines' associates, Detroit Posey and another guy by the name of Kendrick Jermaine Dennis, would be implicated in efforts to intimidate witnesses who were attempting to provide testimony in the case of Craig Gaines. According to court records, in 2003, Posey and Dennis would open fire on a crowd outside a nightclub in Baton Rouge, injuring 1 man and attempting to silence individuals expected to testify in the high-profile drug case of Craig Gaines. The Dumway Boys were one of at least 10 gangs identified in Baton Rouge that would often engage in territorial disputes and gang-related conflicts. Now, Kreglan Gaines Jr. allegedly became involved in street feuds with local Baton Rouge legends like Little Flynn and even Marlo Mike. But in 2010, at just 18 years old, Kreglan Jr. would be shot and killed in his driveway during an argument. But despite all the efforts of him trying to conceal his profits and attempting to get witnesses not to testify, in 2004, Craig Gaines Sr. would be sentenced to 35 years in federal prison. But that wouldn't be the end of the story for Kreglan Gaines Sr. and the Gaines family, because while Craig Gaines Sr. was incarcerated and serving his sentence, his son, Kreglan Gaines Jr., would allegedly become involved in Baton Rouge's violent street culture, with it being rumored that Kreglan Jr. was a member of a group by the name of the Dumway Boys, a gang that was known for its involvement in drug activity and violence. Now, according to the news publication The Advocate, the Dumway Boys were one of at least 10 gangs that were identified by Baton Rouge police that would often engage in territorial disputes and gang-related conflicts. Now, allegedly, Kreglan Jr. will become involved in street feuds with Baton Rouge legends that we previously covered on this channel, like Little Finn and even Marlo Mike. But in 2010, at just 18 years old, and just 6 years after his father's sentencing, Kreglan Jr. would be shot and killed in his driveway during an argument. In 2019, after serving about 16 years on his 35-year prison sentence, his family and others would make a plea using change.org that will fall 83 signatures short of their 5,000 goal in a plea for clemency for Kreglan Gaines Sr. Now, I will provide that link below for those of you that want to show support. But for the people in Baton Rouge, I have a specific question. or probably even in New Orleans. Was there anybody in the city bigger than Craig Gaines? I have one name in mind specifically in New Orleans, but I would be shocked and I would think it's impossible for anybody to call anybody bigger specifically out of the city of Baton Rouge. Now, all my people in Baton Rouge, y'all get in the comment box below and y'all put fact or cap with the rumored allegations with Craig Gaines Jr. going to war with Little Finn and Marlo Mike. And covering this story, I see exactly why the Gaines name, or specifically Craig Gaines' name, holds weight in the city as I was covering his father. But it seemed like it was just as many people online talking about how legendary his son was in the city. Now, y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real, trill, spill shit is dropping. Y'all definitely tapping in that comment box below. Run it up for your ace. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what we missed, what we got wrong, all of that. And definitely tap in with me directly. Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until the next play, y'all know how we rocking. Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty mob.